So, guys, welcome back once again. The ECOWAS Community Court of Justice has finally delivered a landmark judgment that will change everything you thought you knew about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case. Finally, the news we've all been desperately waiting for has arrived. And I'm telling you, this is absolutely huge. The ECOWAS Court, after carefully examining every single detail of this case and reviewing the regional human rights treaties, has now delivered a heavy blow to the Nigerian government, declaring Kanu's rights fundamental, clear, and flagrantly violated. They checked and confirmed everything, and they discovered that serious judicial and executive overreaches were made leading to Kanu's prolonged detention, and that the arguments presented by the prosecution were completely unsustainable under regional law. Before you do anything else, I need you to hit that like button right now. Share this video with everyone you know. Drop a comment saying free Mazi Nnamdi Kanu so the algorithm pushes this to millions of people. And make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications, because what I'm about to share with you is information that the mainstream media will never give you in full detail. This is breaking news that every single person across West Africa and around the world needs to hear. So please don't scroll past this video. Watch it from beginning to end, because the details I'm going to reveal will absolutely blow your mind. The ECOWAS Court has now called out those critical violations of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights that led to the unlawful handling of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and now they have clarified everything. They have concluded their review and officially handed down a massive legal setback to the government. You know, the regional court has maintained that human rights obligations are non-negotiable for member states. And I'm very glad that they have just done exactly what was expected under international law. They stuck to the charter. And this is what I keep thinking about constantly. Regional courts like ECOWAS have both the moral and legal obligation to enforce the rule of law across member states. I don't know why enforcement takes so much time, but I am very glad now that finally they have come to a proper conclusion. They have now seen exactly what I have been saying here on this channel all along. I have been telling you guys that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's basic fundamental rights were completely disregarded through extraordinary rendition and denial of due process. Despite all the state charges brought against him, the regional tribunal has reinforced that you cannot bypass human rights protocols to achieve political or executive ends. I am very happy now that ECOWAS has recognized this truth and validated what human rights advocates have been pointing out for years. This is the ruling we have all been praying for. This is the news everyone has been waiting for with bated breath. Now, without wasting much of our time, let's get right into the full details so you know exactly what the ECOWAS Court had to say concerning this heavy setback for the state authority. We are going to break down exactly what the judges ruled regarding the government's actions and the kind of executive excess that happens when governments try to ignore regional court jurisdictions and international human rights frameworks. Let's read this in full detail, because every single word matters. As you can see on the screen right now, in a landmark determination grounded in the revised ECOWAS Treaty and the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, the ECOWAS Community Court framework has effectively dismantled the legal standing of the actions taken against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. This determination represents a major legal victory rooted not in politics, not in regional diplomacy, but in the binding supremacy of international treaty obligations over domestic executive overreach. Do you understand what this means? This is not about emotions. This is about supranational law, pure and simple. The ECOWAS Court's legal standards regarding fundamental human rights are unequivocal and crystal clear. No sovereign state within the West African bloc can lawfully hide behind domestic security claims to violate fundamental rights protected under regional charters. Kanu's case raised severe violations under regional law due to several critical factors. First, there was the violation of liberty and security of person through extrajudicial transfer across international boundaries. Second, there was the refusal to obey subsisting judicial bail orders issued by competent authorities. Third, there was a clear infringement on fair hearing guarantees as enshrined in Article 7 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. And fourth, there was the continued reliance on procedural delays to maintain detention without meeting international standards of justice. Under ECOWAS jurisprudence, these fundamental breaches cannot be ignored or wiped away by simple administrative decree. Proceedings and detentions rooted in unlawful international transfers are regarded as severe breaches of member state obligations. In Kanu's case, regional legal observers have noted that state actors bypassed established extradition treaties between sovereign nations, rendering their actions completely incompatible with the ECOWAS Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance. As a direct result of this analysis, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's legal team has been handed a powerful instrument of international law. Based on ECOWAS legal doctrine and regional human rights principles, the court's position delivers a blow on the following grounds. First, a blow to executive lawlessness, because member states cannot pick and choose which international treaties to obey when it suits them. Second, a blow to judicial evasion, because regional courts hold jurisdiction to review human rights violations regardless of domestic procedural stalling. And third, a blow to arbitrary power, because political agitation and dissent cannot be met with extraordinary rendition outside the law. The ECOWAS framework affirms that member state sovereignty does not grant absolute immunity from human rights accountability. Under the treaty protocols, signing onto regional courts means submitting to their standards on human treatment and due process. Judicial and state actors who disregard regional court orders face increasing international isolation and diplomatic friction. Sovereign power does not protect any government from being called to account when human rights charters are breached on a global stage. This ECOWAS ruling sends a clear and powerful message across West Africa. First, regional human rights treaties are binding on all signatory nations. Second, national courts must not be used to sanitize state illegalities committed across foreign borders. Third, security considerations do not suspend the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. And fourth, regional justice remains a crucial court of appeal when domestic remedies are compromised or ignored. Let me tell you something very important about what this decision means practically. When a regional court like ECOWAS rules against a government on human rights, it creates immense diplomatic and financial pressure. It means that Nigeria's handling of Kanu's extradition and detention has been found deficient under West African law. It means that the process leading to his continued incarceration is tainted by treaty violations that cannot be swept under the rug. Think about what this means for a moment. The premier judicial organ of West Africa has evaluated the facts and affirmed that fundamental human rights cannot be sacrificed for political convenience. This is not propaganda. This is a formal ruling from an established international court of justice. The ECOWAS position is unambiguous. You cannot abduct a citizen from a foreign country without formal extradition. You cannot ignore human rights guarantees and then demand international respect for your domestic court outcomes. What does this mean for the government? It means they are under intense regional scrutiny. It means their arguments have been rejected by the framework of West African community law. They cannot simply claim domestic immunity while seeking economic and security cooperation from international partners. The region is watching, and ECOWAS has spoken through its judicial authority. This ruling is not just symbolic, it carries substantial legal and diplomatic weight. What is most striking about this judgment is that it reinforces the primacy of treaty law over state power. You cannot call a process lawful if the foundation was built on abduction and denial of rights. If the arrest violated regional protocols, everything built on top of that arrest remains flawed under international scrutiny. ECOWAS has reminded all member states that arbitrary power stops where human rights charters begin. This is a turning point, my friends. This is the moment when regional law has drawn a line in the sand. This is the moment when the West African community affirmed that human rights violations against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu cannot be normalized. In the clash between state dominance and community law has held the government accountable. I would love to hear your take on this in the comment section below. Tell me what you feel about this major regional development. Do well to like this video and share it everywhere. Always leave free Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in the comments so we keep this momentum going. And most importantly, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any breaking updates on this case. The struggle for justice continues, but today we recognize this vital legal victory.